I'm J.B. Wells. I'm the offense coordinator at the United States Coast Guard Academy. I spent some time up here in Maine. I was the head coach at Bowdoin College for 4 years. I coached at Bates College for a couple of years back in the early 90s. So familiar with a lot of the programs up here, a lot of the guys up here. I love coming back up here. Skip Capone is one of my very, very closest friends, as he is for most guys up in Maine. But for a period of time, I was the O-line coach at Bates for 2 years. I think he was for 22. So like Skip always jokes that like 25 years, it was 2 O-line coaches at Bates College, and it was me and Skip. But I'm going to talk to you today about tempo, about kind of going fast. And I think it's the secret sauce. It doesn't matter what kind of offense you run, but it's been very, very good for us at Coast Guard. I've been the offense coordinator for 2 years, and we're breaking records every year. And I think it's got a lot to do with tempo. It's got more to do with that kid, and he's pretty good. You know, you get a kid that should be playing Division I football playing for you, you're going to be pretty good. But we'll do my recruiting spiel for the Coast Guard Academy. All right. United States Coast Guard Academy, we're located in London, Connecticut. All right, we're about 1,100 cadets, and we're one of the 4 military academies in the country. So you have the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and Coast Guard. We're the smallest service, and so sometimes people forget about us because we're Division III. But we're very, very similar to the other academies. So we're part of the 6th Armed Forces. We sit under the Department of Homeland Security, where the rest sit under the Department of Defense, because we're protecting our own shores. Our mission is different as well. We're a humanitarian mission, so a lot of times when you see Coast Guard involved, they're pulling people out of the water and saving lives. But we also do have a unique law enforcement authority where drug interdictions, human trafficking, and those sorts of things, you see that a lot with the Coast Guard as well, when they pull drugs off the boat or save people from being trafficked. So it's really kind of a unique mission. Our guys do the work that they're trained for every single day. The other guys, they train every single day. We hope that they never have to do what they have to do. But Coast Guard, our guys do their stuff. I was just saying to Eamon, last night was billet night, which is where all our seniors find out where they're going. And it's like the greatest night. I was watching it on YouTube. And our captain last year broke his leg. And he's just gotten out of the cast. And man, he jumped about 3 feet in the air when they announced where he was going, because it was his choice. And it was great to kind of see it, get you all emotional. You guys are so great. But here's Coast Guard, right? We're tuition free with 0 student loan debt with a 5-year service commitment. So no different from the other academies. Our guys draw pay. So $1,200 a month as a stipend as an undergraduate. The Coast Guard had NIL before anybody else had NIL. They're government employees, so they get paid. You're going to get 100% job placement. And like I was saying, I was just watching last night, that things that you want to do, and all job selections are non-combat. So the #1 deterrent to kids looking at military academies is mom doesn't want their son in harm's way. Well, it doesn't mean that the jobs that the Coast Guard do aren't dangerous. It's just that you're probably not dodging bullets. All right. Our guys are gonna make over $100,000 income before age 30. The guy that coaches with us on offense is an instructor at the academy, played there. He's 26 years old. He makes about $130,000 a year. And he's doing pretty well right out of school. And then the benefits are superior actually in the private sector. Government benefits are pretty good. I benefit from that as well, which is nice being an employee of the academy. 85% are going to earn a graduate degree at the United States Coast Guard expense. So that's paid back by more years. So within a 10-year period, if guys stay in past 5, but they want to do a master's degree, they might be in the Coast Guard for 10 years, but they'll graduate with 2 degrees, zero debt from pretty prestigious places. Over 80% of the academy graduates stay in the Coast Guard past 5 years. That speaks to the lifestyle that they live. It's a rewarding lifestyle. We're academically comparable to the Ivy League or the NESCAC. Our kids are going to be very, very high-flying academically. Average recruit last year, 3.8 unweighted GPA. We are test optional, but they're going to look for chemistry, physics, and calculus because we're heavy STEM. Every single cadet coming in the door is going to take about the same classes, and it's heavy STEM. So we want to make sure no matter what they're studying, they're prepared for that. And then we have a unique prep school option. I sit on the admissions review committee, and the review committee may say this kid looks like he could be a great candidate to be an officer of the Coast Guard. Looks like he's got a lot of the things, but maybe needs a little bit more academic work. They'll recommend him for what they call the Coast Guard Academic Scholars Program, and they'll send those kids to about 4 or 5 different prep schools around the country. Football players go to NAPS. They go to the Naval Academy Prep School in Newport, Rhode Island. They play under the Navy system, coached by Navy coaches. They work with the Navy strength coach in the off season. We got 15 guys over there right now. I went and had lunch with them 2 weeks ago. They look different because they've been working with this guy. They get big and strong, and it's like getting 15. We got 15 over there now. That's like 15 sophomores walking in the door for you. So it's a unique option. And actually, I wish I could send every single guy to NAPS for that 1 year, and then they come the next year direct to the academy. So we've got guys that are doing the 4-year, 200-week experience, and we've got guys that are doing 200+ a year at NAPS. So it's a unique option, and we kind of counsel guys into that because it can be a great option. So. Our guys want to go fast. So my wife said, you're not going to put this up there because it's got your name on it. You're putting it up there because we want everyone to see your name because you're such a great coach. You answer customer calls. Take my name out of it. It's the whole thing is that our offense is going to go that fast. And this is just an observation by a reporter at one of our home games that the officials scrambling to get out of the way. We're trying to get the ball snapped. In a perfect world, I would love to have that they call him the center judge, it's the umpire, right? I'd rather have that umpire backpedaling past our quarterback. When as soon as he crosses our quarterback, we snap that ball right then. You know, so we want to try to get the ball snapped as many times as we can, as fast as we can. And that's been a key thing for us. So just this last year, we were 6th best in Division III in plays per game. Now that should be more, because that's about 75.5 plays a game. That's not enough. That's not enough. So we got to do better. So that's part of this talk was the kind of off-season autopsy on how do you go from 75 plays to 90 plays, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Total offense, we're 20th in Division III for about the first 4 weeks, 5 weeks of the season. I think we're going to lead Division III in total offense. 35.5 points a game, not enough. We should be up around 50. I bet we left a lot of meat on the bone this year. We're getting older. We got everybody back, so we should be better. And we did set a record for 93 points in 1 game. And that was more about them than about us. We scored all those points. About 75, I turned to the head coach and I was like this, and the head coach was like, just keep going. You know, I was running the ball. Honestly, that day probably could have scored 193 points. It was one of those days. Everything was going right for us and everything was going wrong for us. So let's talk about tempo. So what does tempo mean for us? It means play at 90 plays per hour. That's kind of the mentality that we want. We want to try to get to 90 plays a game. If we feel we hit 90 plays a game, we're going to smoke the team. So what I talk to you guys a lot about is like, hey, get the first down, and let's snap that ball in 12 to 15 seconds if we can. All right? But for us, it's our identity. Everything that we do is fast, right? And so we want to make sure that that's our identity. It's not just a tool. It's not something where, you know, if you go and you look for some other, you know, things on tempo or playing with different speeds, you'll get guys talking about, oh, well, we do this tempo, and then we have that tempo, and then we have this 3rd tempo, and then there's a 4th tempo. I'm like, no, we have 1. We just want to go fast. This creates a sense of urgency in the players. Because they know it's got to get on the ball, let's go, get the call, get lined up, snap the ball, get the next one. Like they get into that rhythm, and it becomes urgent, not frantic. And I think that's a key difference. We dictate the flow of the game. We create tired, unsound defense. We'll steal yards because teams don't get lined up right. We'll get an explosive play because teams don't get lined up right. And we all know in offense, you need explosive plays to move the football. Your chance of scoring goes up like 50% if you get 1 explosive play in a drive. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. This helps us. The more plays we run, the more opportunities we have to score. So that's just the way I look at it. Every play is an opportunity to score. The more we do that, the more we're gonna score. All right. So this is how we break up plays for us. So in the Coast Guard, if you hear it's red deck, it means everything's shut down. If you hear green deck, it means everything's fired up and ready to go. So when we talk to the guys, we talk to them about red deck plays and green deck plays. So red deck plays are plays where no matter how bad you want to go fast, you just can't. All right, there's an injury, play after a timeout, P&10. You can't go fast. You can't. So there's plays that we design that are red deck plays. So the guys know that's probably something that's going to involve some things that we don't like to do a lot of, motions or shifts, or maybe a crazy formation. something where I can coach you on the sideline. All right, boys, here we go. This is what we're going to do. Everything we're doing? All right, let's go. Boom. I have a friend in Texas that will put his red deck plays into a notebook like scout cards. And he'll go, this is what we're running, boys. And he'll have something on there for those special plays, and boom, close it and send them out there. I thought that was kind of genius. But those are red deck plays. Green deck plays, that's where you can go fast. Any situation where you can go fast. So what we want to do is, in our green deck, those are the plays that are your one-word calls. You got a gas menu. Repeat a call is a way to go faster. But anything where we can go fast is green deck. And when I refer to green deck, our guys know, like when we get real specific about green deck in our guys' heads is like, that's our top stuff. It's coded up. I can say one thing and the guys know what it is and they'll go. So they like the green deck. And we found that, we actually did a study of all our explosive plays over the course of the season, anything over 20 yards. And we found that only, I think there was like 75 explosives, let's say. All right? Could be more, 75. Only 5 of those calls were like specialty things that you dialed up. The rest of them were all off of green deck base calls. So if you're going fast with base stuff, you get explosives. All right, so that's kind of important. All right, so thoughts on tempo. Number one, don't give the defense too much credit. In fact, don't give them any credit at all. All right, those guys are just trying to get lined up. And you know if you coach defense, and I've never coached a day of defense in my life. I couldn't spell defense, right? But I know this. I've always heard this out of these defensive coaches. You gotta get lined up, get lined up, get lined up, get lined up. Use misaligned. That's why it went wrong. Guess what? You'll get them misaligned if you do this, right? So they can't process what they're seeing and hearing. So you can say whatever you want. Amy just asked me, said, how do you call the plays in? This is how I call the play in. Green 1. Slot over here, green 1. I don't care. You can be standing right next to me. You can't figure it out. Get your hands on your knees. You think they know what that means? They don't know anything. Don't give them any credit at all. All right? They're figuring the play out. No, dumbass. No, they're not. In the history of football, no defensive player has ever figured anything out going fast. It's a fact. All right? I think it makes practice better. All right? We get more repetitions. We get better conditioning. It's more game-like for our guys on the day-to-day. Now, we're not going like, it's not like you blow the whistle. If it's water break, they can sprint to the water. We're not in tempo every single period of every practice. But the times that we are, we're going like our hairs are on fire, and our guys get used to it. Game plans become really easy. All right, I like to say our offense is the no game plan offense. I put away the idea of calling the perfect play a long time ago. Right? I want to play checkers, not chess. I just want to play checkers fast. All right? Because if you're sitting there with your massive call sheet, searching for the perfect play, you can't go fast. And if you get it called right, good for you. But if I just try to find the perfect play on first down and get 5 yards, I can call fast. And I can call power, who cares? Looking for something fancy? My call sheet is like this big, and I barely take it out of my pocket. It's usually situational calls, red zone, certain things where you need to slow down and stop and take a breath. Your red deck calls. I'll keep that on the card and put it in my back pocket. I can call the whole thing because we've reduced the schemes, and I can call it off the top of my head, and I can go. And I get into the flow of the game with my players. We focus more on situational calls, that's what we're kind of game planning for. Let's figure out those situations, figure out red zone, let's figure out what we need to do. Listen, if you're having to spend a lot of time on 3rd and 12, you stink. Work on 1st and 10 and get better. You won't have to worry about 3rd and 12. Right? So to me, it's like, I'm very selective about what we're going to waste our time on. All right? And then, majority of our plus 20 plays came from base offense. So if you can reduce your schemes, run them fast, I think you get everything you want out of your offense. It's just really hard for offensive coaches to buy into that. Because we all want to sit in the room and draw up the perfect play, and we all sat on, we got done with our game, and we're 6 beers deep, and we saw the game Saturday night. Oh, that's going to be a great idea on Sunday. You can't run it, but you think you can run it. So coaches will come in. I had a young guy 2 years ago. He'd come in with all these plays from Sunday, on Monday morning. I'd be like, that's fucking great. We're not doing any of that. Run our shit. Right? So mechanics. Now this is where I think this is kind of the ingredients of kind of watch the tactical because it goes longer than the kid that's filming, right? I wish I could just have a kid to just film nonstop and just film the thing without any breaks. The tactical get it closest to where you're kind of going beyond, the end of the play. And I tried to see what was our quarterback doing, what were our skill guys doing, what was the line doing, what was I doing, so I can make this faster. So the first thing is this. If you give the ball to a sideline official, it'll be 10 to 15 seconds before the ball is set and ready to play. The officials have no interest in speeding the game up for you. Right? You can talk to them before the game, and if you get a good umpire, like if you look over and the umpire's like, he's eating a meatball sandwich before the game, you're gonna have a hard time that game going fast, because he's not in a hustle, right? You gotta hurry up. But if you get the guys you can talk to about it, they'll maybe help you out a little bit, but if your guy goes out of bounds and hands the ball to the sideline official, that sideline official is gonna put the ball on the ground, he's gonna wait for his buddy, he's gonna pick the ball up, he's gonna throw it into his buddy. Have you seen the guys that play the umpire position? They were all old offensive linemen. He's gonna drop the ball, it's gonna bounce around a little bit, defense probably gonna kick it. By the time that thing gets set, it's 10 to 15 seconds off the clock, right? So we want to make sure we don't take the officials out of the game a little bit. The fastest way to get the ball set is get the ball to the umpire. So we coach our guys. The ball's got to be brought back into the inside officials and give it to the umpire. If you can't give it to the umpire, give it to your center. But you'll see there's plays that we'll run in, and my slot just caught a ball, he runs it, hands it to the center. The center stands there with his feet set, and he's taught where the ball's going to be, and he's waiting for the umpire. He hands it to the umpire, everyone's set. Once that umpire puts the ball on the ground, back comes out of there, we're ready to go. So get the ball into the umpire. And you got to be decisive and ensure the ball is in the official's hands. Don't throw it in. Run in a soft toss to the umpire, he's going to catch it, he's going to get it set. If you throw it to the sideline, he's going to drop it. He's going to drop it. And then if you want to deal with weather or field conditions, you don't want that ball on the ground rolling around. All right? So, here's an example of a bad situation. So, we're going to get lined up here. You can see it's like second and 2 or third and 2. We're going to get into an empty. And our slot here, our receiver here is our running back. And he's going to catch a little ball here on the sideline. Just watch what happens. This is the game we scored 93. Early in the game, no score. All right, so he's going to pop out there, out into the slot. It's a fake empty. I love fake empties. But just run a little out cut. Quarterback gets it for the first down. He's out of bounds. Now, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, 1,009, 1,010, 1,011, 1,012. See what I'm saying? Don't give the ball to the sideline official. Sometimes they're going to get it. But most of the time, we want that guy coming off the sideline, getting the ball inside himself. All right? Or I'll show you a trick that we're going to try this spring that I got from a buddy of mine. But here's a good example. All right, so I think, now this is kind of funny. This should have been a pick. But our receiver here catches the ball. Watch what he does. This is a good example. Outside receiver didn't get the memo, but we got lucky here. All right, but watch, he gets up now. Now, instead of giving it to that guy, don't give it to that guy. He tosses it in. He's looking for that center judge, the umpire. All right, so we get it set. You see how much faster that went? Now we're ready to go. I can get that call in. We can get the thing snapped. So good example. Now, those are things where, I love to attack into my own boundary, but when you're working off a hash, it's easy when ball's caught here and running into here, okay? But what happens if you catch the ball to the field where you're on this hash? So through a screen out here, or you throw something out here, and the ball's caught on the sideline there. So I was thinking about that, and I stole this directly, stealing this from Bob Davies. I don't know if you guys know Bob. Bob was out at Carlton. He's at Marist now. And Bob and I were talking about tempo. They run a lot of plays too. And he said you can relay the ball That's all this is. So one thing that we're going to try to sink into our guys is, if the ball's if the ball's out of bounds on the far hash, you know the ball's coming to that hash. Get the ball into one of your buddies here, and have him relay it. So the guy on the sideline's going to relay it into the fullback. The fullback's going to get it into the middle. So I thought it was a neat way to do it. I'll let you watch it. We're going to try it this spring and give it a run and see if we like it. But I think it's just another tool in your tempo toolbox. You know, you're throwing a bubble screen out here, it goes out of bounds. Now instead of giving it to the official, 83, you see his buddy, like, hey, give it to me and I'll run it in, because I got to be in there anyway. So I think I might start coaching my fullbacks, we call him the bear, coach the bear up to, hey man, if that thing's caught out there, hustle over there, you get the ball. All right, you get the ball, and then I'll get it in there for you, buddy, so you can stay out here and get lined up for the next call. So just another idea, right? Something I hadn't thought about. Middle of the field to the hash, no problem. Hash into the sideline, no problem. Far hash to the far sideline, how can we speed that up a little bit? Again, I'm nitpicking, but these are the things that I think about. All right, now, how do we start to coach the mechanics of it? So here's your mechanics, right? Our guys got to know who the line judges are, and they have to know who the umpire, the center judge, whoever this cat is. They took him out of the grinder, which was stupid, right? Number one, that guy was the greatest pick guy ever. You tell those guys to run their shallow crosses off the umpire. That was awesome. Some umpires get crushed, break a leg or something. It was terrible. I saw a guy break up, had a compound fracture in a game, and I was like, that's why they took him out of the middle. All right?
Still there in high school.
Is he? Well, if he's there, that's even better for tempo, because he's already standing there. This guy's got to run off from behind and all this bullshit, right? It helped us a little bit, because our guy knows that, like, if I get it snapped when this guy's like walking backwards, I'm in good shape, but whatever. But we tell him, you got to look for these line judges, and you got to look for the umpire. So the center knows, you start by telling the center, you find the line judge and find the hash, and where those two intersect, that's where you want to put your feet. So if the center can get to that point, we're in pretty good shape, because everyone else is going to follow suit. All right? And then the other thing is, we tell the guys, you got to know who the umpire is. I'll find out the umpire's name. I'll tell them to use the umpire's name. Like, get the ball to the umpire. If you can't get the ball to the umpire, hand it to the center. They don't love that. But your big butt wasn't there, so you gave it to this kid. I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Right? Give it to the center, go back and get lined up. Okay? So those are things our guys have to know. Who's the line judge? That guy. Where's the umpire center? That guy. All right, we'll be in good shape. Okay, so there are things that are going to disrupt your tempo. There's three things that will disrupt your tempo. First is the officials. Again, you have to take the officials out of the equation by repping these mechanics like it's an offensive play. Get the guys used to getting the ball to the official. All right? Jesus. All right. We're going to assign someone on our team, whether it's a coach, a manager, a player, another player, to be the official. All right? One is the line judge, one is the umpire. Sometimes maybe it's just the umpire. Whatever you got access to. But if you can have somebody playing the line judge and somebody playing the umpire, then your guys can get used to seeing where those guys get lined up, and they can practice it. And everybody's got an extra player. All right? Someone got hurt. Guess what you are? You're the line judge. You know? Go to the PE room and get a penny and throw it on him. There he is. All right? You know what? That's a pretty good motivator to not be hurt. All right? Because they don't want to do it. We were lucky. We had a young guy that was he played for us, but the academy needed him to stay for an extra semester. He couldn't play football anymore. He became like my umpire for everything. Spence was the umpire. He knew where to line up. Spence, line up here and pretend like you're that umpire. Gotcha, coach. You set the ball every play. And it was pretty good. We had that consistency. This year I got to figure something else out. Might be the third quarterback. Never hand the ball to an official on the sideline, get the ball back into the middle ourselves. If you are tackled inside the numbers, run the ball into the umpire. If you're tackled on the sideline to the boundary, run the ball to the umpire. If you're tackled on the sideline to the field, hit the cutoff man. That's how I'm going to teach it this spring. And we're going to start hammering this in day one. Just making sure that they understand it and we'll drill. All right, second thing. This one's going to slow you down. calling and recognizing the play call. All right, Amy just said, how do you call the play? Hey, 2, 2, 2, razor sharp, razor sharp. That's it. I just called the play just like I called my own players. Signals and freaking boards and bullshit to that. I don't have time for that. We don't have time for anything at the academy. I get like 1 meeting a week. These guys are in military drill. I have no time. So I keep it as simple as possible, and it's been good for us. So you have to practice calling the play fast as a play caller. If you're the play caller, you have to practice calling plays fast. I don't feel I'm calling plays fast enough. Like, I've got to work on calling things faster. Just not worrying about what I call as much. Trusting what we know about the game plan, trusting what we know about our team, and make that call. I was saying before, I remember way back, like early 2000s, in Boston College camp, sitting with Chip Kelly in the stands, and he just telling me, it doesn't matter, just call the play. It doesn't matter what you call. If it's in your game plan, it's what you're good at, go do that. There's no magic formula. If you want to be this great guru and you're calling the perfect play, that's no fun. All the plays your kids are good at and you trust, and they'll get the yards for you. So you got to call it fast. It's a skill. I gotta drill it more. I stopped scripting practice, and I would always try to call plays from the sideline, even in practice. You know, we always want to be behind the line. I'm an O-line guy. I want to be behind the offensive line. I want to see all that stuff. You know, but if we're in a drill where we're practicing tempo, and I'm practicing play calling, I got to get myself to the sideline so that those guys get used to looking at me and finding me, and I get used to seeing them and finding them for this thing. Because if my quarterback's here and he's looking for me for a play call like this, that doesn't happen in the game. So we want to do that. So I stopped scripting practice. If we're in a team period, I'm calling the plays. I might have some notes on a sheet saying, better call this. But for the most part, I'm calling like I call the game. Quarterbacks and skill players get their eyes to the offensive coordinator before the previous play ends. So if we're going to be really fast, our quarterback rips a hitch. He shouldn't even see that guy tackle. He should be looking for me. See it completed, look for me. And that way I can be looking for him when we're trying to get that play call. So I gotta get up. Like, I love football. Don't get caught watching the game. You know, like, ooh, look at that. That's a nice move. Fuck that. That was just 3 seconds. Call the play. Me, call the play. Listen to yourself, coach. All right? Offensive line, work to get to the ball and get lined up. All right? Work to get to the ball and get lined up. Don't look at me. I tell my offensive line, do not look at me. Don't turn back here and look at me. You get lined up. Joe will tell you what the play is. Or you're going to hear me yelling, but don't look for me. You need to get your big behind up to where the center is, because you guys got to get set or we can't play. So, and then everybody over communicate. Relay the call to each other. Like, our quarterback will come up with little signals for things to tell the receivers on the far side what to do. Because sometimes that far receiver's like, maybe he didn't hear me. He's looking. Joe will get the call from me, and if it's something out to the receiver, he'll give the receiver a little whatever. I don't even know what he calls stuff. And more importantly, I don't care. If he and the other guy know what it is, we're good. All right, so we want to relay the call. So you got to get the call in. Call it fast. Get the guys to get their eyes on you so they can communicate it, have to communicate it to each other as they're getting lined up, which is the next part. Getting lined up will slow you down. All right? So this is a question I think anybody that wants to run fast, you have to ask yourself these questions. Can we run our offense from only one formation? Can you run your offense effectively from one formation? What is your favorite formation? For me, it's what we call slot. That's my favorite formation. For some people, it's 2-by-2. For some people, it's 3-by-1. Can you run your offense from that formation where you can do what you want to do out of that one formation? Can you run your offense from any formation? Do those plays line up whether you're in 3-by-1, 2-by-2, 2-by-1, whatever? All right? Don't get cute. You know, if you get the defense in a predictable look, why get out of that look? Why change the formation? Why? Because you want to show everybody in the stands how smart you are? Or how creative you are? You know what people like? Points and wins. So get into something that you feel is good for you, and don't be afraid to get out, and don't be afraid to stay in it. Don't get out of it just because you think you have to. All right? If you get them in a predictable thing where you know, man, we get them in 3-by-1, and they do this, and we can run these 3 plays and beat them, stay in 3-by-1 and run 3 plays and beat the shit out of them. All right? Outside receivers for us, this helps with speed, stay right and left. We have an R and an L. We don't have an X and a Z, we have an R and an L. And they stay on that side, they don't move. 99% of the time. So 1% of the time is if I want to go like over. I want to say like it's, oh, hey, we're going over, and we're going to put the R and the L on the same side, we're going to be unbalanced, the inside guy's going to be covered. That'll be the only time. And I don't even think it was 1% for us. We didn't use that. All right? The slot is the guy that has to move back and forth the most. So I try to limit how much we make him run around. We don't want him running another mile in a game when he doesn't have to. He's our best guy. All right? He's my dude. So we try to limit how much he has to run around. So again, if I can design some things, and some things philosophically where he can stay as the slot to the field, or he can stay as the slot to the boundary, and he doesn't have to run his ass over there to run the play, I want to have enough things that I can just line up and run it. Line up and run it, and not worry, I got to get Desta over there, I got to get Desta over here. Now, sometimes you have to do that, but if you have things where you can kind of leave him on the same side and be effective, why change him around? That helps you be fast. All right, that just helps you speed things up. It's probably, again, you're talking microseconds, but everything counts. And then the offensive line. Find the hash of the line judge where the ball's going to be, and go to that ball. We do not want our guys wandering away. All right? I don't have dogs out there to bring in the herd, right? I want those guys staying. In general, most of the game, the offensive line should be playing on the hash, right around the hash, working right up and down the hashes. Now, this breaks some rule, like hustle down there and get around the ball. I don't tell guys that anymore. Like, yeah, if the ball's over there, they're going to go over there because that's where it's going to get spotted. But unless I'm coaching it where, hey, we ran a play where I wanted the tackle and guard to release and go block downfield outside, like way outside, wanted to kick or whatever, yeah, they need to do that. But in general, if we're running down the middle, we're running down the hashes. So let's work down the hash or work to the hash. Don't waste movement. Don't have 5 guys in 5 different spots. They should all be kind of near each other. It should be like a 5-year-old soccer game. You ever go to a 5-year-old soccer game? You got all the kids on the team around the ball, just moving from one spot to the next. That's what the offensive line should be. It should be like a 5-year-old soccer game. All right? Now, how can we go faster? All right, and this is kind of the key. You have to practice winning between the snaps, winning the time between the snaps. So each coach is involved in being a fast tempo team. You've got to take personal responsibility for your position group, all right, that they're doing what they're supposed to do. So if you're the receivers coach, and your receivers are not getting lined up fast, that's on you. If you're the quarterback's coach and he's not looking at the offensive coordinator, that's on you. If I'm the offensive line coach, and my guys are drifting off and not getting down the hashes where I want them, that's on me. So we're all invested in making sure that our position group is doing the things it takes to be fast. Hit the cutoff man, getting the ball from the far sideline. I think that's kind of a neat thing for us. I want to try that. Can that help us go faster? And get the call and get lined up. Make the call, get lined up. And you just got to hammer it, hammer it, hammer it. And there's not a lot of yelling and screaming to it. It's just a sense of urgency. Offensive coordinator and quarterback need to be in sync. We got to be looking for each other. All right, so he needs to get his eyes to the sideline, and I got to get my eyes to him, and we should never see the end of the previous play, like I said before. So if I'm looking, and you're the quarterback, and at the end of the play, I'm staring at you, and you're staring down the field, then when you turn to me, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? And then, or he should be looking at me like, give me the call, coach, give me the call. Like, I want Joe asking for the call. Like, that doesn't bother me, because that tells me Joe's coaching me to coach to get the play in. And I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm okay with that. It's not being disrespectful. It's that kid knows I'm trying to do something here, and that's part of it. I gotta be part of it too. All right, if I'm slow, we're all slow. So I gotta be fast. And then have something ready to call. The faster you call it in, the faster you play. The old patent, a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. I don't need the perfect call. I need a call. And you're not calling bad calls, man. It's not like you're calling some bullshit call. Well, that didn't work. No, call it again. Find the call that's going to work for you. It's going to be one of your core plays. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know that play that your kids have total faith in. Could be a quick pass, power. For me, it's power. Our guys know that. Maybe it's a screen that you know your guys can execute every single time you run it. When in doubt, call that. When in that, call that. You know what it is. You know in your heart. Call the play. The faster you do it, the faster you play. All right? Now, period that's against your own defense, don't script those plays. If it's your base offense, we're working 1st and 10, 2nd and mediums, maybe it's even 3rd and short, it'd be the same grouping of plays, correct? I mean, it's kind of general, but in general, that's what we're calling. So you got your main chunk of plays. Just call plays, man. Call your plays. It'll all work out in the end. Oh, we didn't run this enough. Maybe you wouldn't call it a game then. I don't know. But in general, we got used to calling that green deck set of plays for us very, very quickly. And I did it without a script. Now, save you a ton of time when you're not freaking in there scripting practice. And I hated scripting practice. Hated it. I don't do it, so I don't hate it anymore, right? Practice tempo mechanics whenever you can. So getting somebody to be the umpire and the line judge, work on getting the ball in and getting guys lined up fast. Those things mechanically, even if you just did that as a period of practice, you'll get better and you'll get faster. All right, we do that on air. I'll show you that. And then call simple plays to the sideline. You've got to get used to seeing the call as it's going to happen. So I'll even try to get on the correct sideline for, if we're home, I get on our home sideline. If we're playing on the road, I get on the other sideline. I just want them feeling like they're looking in the right spot. That also does something, it creates a sense of confidence that the guys are like, man, we're really preparing for this game. We're doing it just like we were doing the game, and they just have a better overall carryover to the actual game when you do that. And again, get them called quickly, practice getting the play run quickly. So it's calling it, recognizing it, and getting lined up. And that process has to happen every single time between the snaps. So it's that short period of time between the snaps. All right? So, how do we do this? Number one, perfect plays. Everybody does them. All right, everybody does them. We were talking about them. I think when you're running perfect plays, it could be, and if you want to Google something, Google Central Florida perfect play period or team tempo or team takeoff. It's all in there. You'll find it online, right? It's just running plays as fast as you possibly can on air. All right? And so this is a little bit like, this is where you can actually coach it to be faster than you, right? Where it's kind of like track, right? I coached track for about 9 years. I didn't coach sprinters, but I knew this. If you get a 20-degree downhill angle and you have guys run down that angle as fast as they can, they'll run faster than they can on a flat surface, correct? Right? We used to do it with throwers. You get on a negative angle with a glide, you'll glide faster, and ultimately when you get to a flat surface, you'll be faster. That's an old Russian thing, right? Well, I think that doing perfect plays like this is over speed training. So we'll start with this, and I'll just give them one play, and we'll stay on the right hash, and we'll run that one play down the right hash 5 times in a row, 10 yards at a time, from the 50 to the goal line, whatever it is, as fast as we humanly possible. Now, when you do that, you still have to do your ball mechanics. So we'll get a guy as the line judge, and he's going to be 10 yards from the spot. We get the center judge ready to go, and we go. And if that ball goes out of bounds there, it comes into the center judge, he gets it set, and we can run the next thing. And we put it on a clock. And so your first offense and your second offense, if you got a third offense, they'll compete with each other to see if they can do it faster. And you'll see at the end, the twos beat the ones want another rep at it. But you're trying to go as fast as you possibly can, get 5 plays done, as quickly as possible. Try to do it in an unreasonable amount of time, and they'll do it. Now, we can go same play. So let's say I'm running power into the boundary with a fire screen as the RPO, right? The quarterback has 2 things: you can hand it off, or you can throw the fire, and you just let them go right down. So if they do it like that, I may do it where I set that play and say, okay, we're just going to flip it over to the other side, and we're going to run it down the other side, get you going from side to side. Again, none of this is perfect, but it's just getting into the idea of the mechanics. And then different plays down the same hash, call 2 different plays, call 3 different plays down the hash, just get them used to switching it. All right? And then different plays and switch the hashes. So getting them to, hey, throw the ball out there to the field, so we got to get our asses over there. All right? Run the ball wide, whatever it is. And I might script that period because I'm trying to overspeed it. I'm not thinking at all. I'm just running those plays. Or this would be a great time where we'll run some things where we'll go a stampede, which is 5 plays in a row. Or we'll go like a trio, which is 3 plays in a row. And the guys will memorize those plays, and we'll run them as fast as we can on air. But this is how it starts. There's no defense. You know what the play is before the play is going to be called. Men, we're running power into the boundary with a fire screen. Go. And see how many times you can go as fast as you can. Right? When you get to individual, don't wear them out in individual. Save your things for team periods and things where you're in group, where you're going to work fast, and you're going to be able to do mechanical stuff. But there are times where you want to work some of those things in an individual period. Maybe that's like early in the week. Like on Monday, I call it Big 3 Monday. Our guys know what we're going to do on Monday. It's going to be a little bit back to basics. There's going to be a little bit of a tempo element to individual because we're not going to have a long practice that day. So I've got to get something where they're still experiencing the urgency of tempo, but it's in individual drills. And I'll show you 2 of those drills. We have that skill relay drill. Again, I stole this from my buddy, the offensive coordinator at high school down in Texas. I thought it was awesome. So we're going to do that as a way to continue to work relaying the ball in or getting the ball into the correct guy. And then I did some things with the offensive line. Great in the spring, great in training camp, great at the beginning of the week, where I just make them run the same drill 4 times in a row. So they're executing that same block 4 times in a row as fast as they can. And I'll show you, I got the video on how we set that up. The other thing is this, and if you can do this, if you have the numbers, it's great. If you don't have the numbers, there's still ways to do it, but work your team versus 2 huddles. So if you've got the luxury of having at least two front sevens, right? If you got two scout teams, that's awesome. Like we didn't have enough guys to do it all. So we would self-scout, offense would come down, and we would run our defensive plays. We'd run against our opponent's defense. You know, I have my starters going against the starting defense. That goes pretty slow. When we do it against our defense, the starting defense is team 1, the second defense is team 2, and we run as fast as we can between those 2 defenses and simulate the tempo of the game.
Sorry, Coach, we're up against it.
Okay, I'll go fast. It's tempo. It's a tempo talk, Coach.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, normally Capone does that. I just tell him to screw, but you know, his kid's gonna come play for us, so I don't want to say it. All right. So if you can set that up, what we did is that we set them up about 25 yards apart. Again, it's not perfect because we're going back and forth, so the mechanics aren't perfect. But if we can do mechanics on air, we can work some mechanical things in individual. When we get to team, it's not as important, but the ball will move. All right. And we don't worry about the defense being perfect. I'm going to give you the secret sauce right at the end of this. You know, so who hates scout teams? I hate scout teams. I'll show you how to fix your scout team. All right. So we got to go faster now because I'm up against it. So this is the North 40 down in Texas, outside of Dallas. This is my friend Justin Velasquez. He did this drill with these guys. He set it up so they were running just a screen out here, a bubble or a fire screen. The quarterback that's the center, he's going to end up being kind of the umpire too, right? So they were just running this, working on getting outside up, and then telling them to sprint inside and give the ball back. So just an easy way to kind of get that started. Easy idea, and then they just moved it up the field. They just moved up the field. Simple. You know, I said, well, what if you put 2 guys out there and you have one back to his position? So throw a screen to the inside guy, have him give it back, have to get lined up. You know, do it with 2 guys. We'll do it with 2 guys. But I thought it was a good period. Yeah, that's the visitor stands, and they're building a whole new thing. 6A Texas football is a beautiful thing. All right, offensive line stuff. So this is how we got like 4 drills done with the O-line. So this is just a little overlap drill. This is just a shuffle drive drill. But what you're going to see is I've got a guy with a bag here, I've got a guy with a bag there. They're going to come off the ball, blow the whistle, go down, get set up, do it again. Now you go against the other guy. He's going to know these guys get set up again because they're going to be back. We did it 4 times. And all it did was like, the best reps to coach are 3 and 4. Right? The best reps to coach are 3 and 4 when the technique starts going to hell. All right, but we get 4 reps there, and we're in good shape. Right? All right. Then, you know, this was a pull drill. So this is like, you know, just a shuffle pull on power. You know, now he's going to hustle back. The other guy's going to come in and play the linebacker, and he'll go the other way. 4 times. Do it 6 times. You know, whatever you think. That was spring last year. Looks like crap because as we did it, we'll probably hopefully look better this year. This kid's a double engineering major. He's brilliant. Shitty offensive guard. He's a great kid. I shouldn't say that. He's a wonderful kid. And he's not bad. He's just not as good. And I appreciate it. But he's like a double engine, like he's a mech, and he's just too smart for his own good. All right, fix your scout team. Fix your scout team. All right. How many guys? Hey, hold the card up. Who's the Mike? Oh, who's the nose? I'm the nose. You're not the nose. You're the 3. Oh my God, pull your hair out. Right? So this is what we did. If you're playing a team that has an even front, tell the 2 inside guys they can line up anywhere they want on the guards. The only rule is you can't have two shades. You got 2 3s, you got 2 2s, you got to shade the 3, you got to shade the 2. I don't care. Get lined up, head up, slant, doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. Defensive ends, you're always in the C gap. You can go tight, you can go loose, you can bracket, you can squeeze, do whatever what the hell you want. Now, if you got a team that's really going to be squeezing, you might tell them, hey, Ed, you got to squeeze. You just tell him what to do. But he knows who he is, he's going to stay right there. Linebackers, line in the air, B gap, whatever's open, mirror the back to your side, and you can scrape or run through. I don't care. Because when you play fast, defense is a screw up. But this way, they just know, they get lined up. You're not showing a card, just do this. Now, if you add a secondary to it, we just have them doing it, the coach has to tell them the call. We just get with our defensive coach and say, what do you call quarter, half? That's 6. Hey guys, play 6. Done. All right, because coverage is coverage. All right. Now, if you have an even or an odd front, you do the same thing. You're a DN, you're the nose, you're the backers. That's how you get lined up. Do whatever the hell you want, because you're gonna get things. You're gonna play in chaos. Now, if I want guys to work against something specific, pirate stunt, they like to do this, they like to do that. We do that earlier in practice where we can walk through it. We can jog through it at a slower pace where they can see it. And I got another trick that how we do that. I wasn't able to put it in here. That's the way that we teach it. But then this is how we did the 1 offense versus 2 defenses. We just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You could go against 2 completely different fronts. You go against 2 completely different defenses. Almost then just, come on, Shane, come on, get up, come on. So, if you don't have 2 full defenses, build two interior cores. Figure it out. Have 1 full defense. Do the other, run the other play on the air. Get some garbage cans and set it out there. It doesn't matter. But if you got 2, it works the best because it's live bodies and you're gonna have the most. But we worked at this, it was like 4 reps. Then we got the 6, and then the guys were calling for 10 reps, and they go fast. So I'm gonna get a lot more reps called in the team period. I get it on film, and even if you don't get it on film, who cares? Like you're coaching your guys up to play at a pace. And something where they can understand how fast you want to go. And then if you want to take a picture of that, write down my stuff. If you call me, I'll call you back. You can text me, that's my cell. That's my Coast Guard email. And then I can always hit you on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, send me a DM. And I'll send you whatever you want. If you want this presentation, I'll send you the presentation. Just ask me. And then if you have any additional questions, I think they're going to drag me to another room. If you want to talk about like offensive line stuff, like that's more fun to talk about than netball. All right, but you know, if you want to talk about scheme, I can talk about scheme as long as I don't play it. So Timmy Vile sent you guys in here. It's a little like there's moles. There's moles. All right, Vile drove me crazy when he was a player. He's driving me crazy now as an opponent.
How much does the DC hate you?
DC loves me. DC's the head coach. He loves me. You know, here's the thing. I think that let me let Shake plug in here so you're ready to go. You know, our guys, when we installed, when I came in, I got hired on a Friday. We had spring practice on a Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. So the head coach and I hadn't even discussed what we were going to do on offense. I just known him for 20 years. He said, I just want to run the ball and score. I said, okay.